For those of you that have just joined us, welcome to the Global ATM Halal Tourism Summit. For those of you that are here for the first session, thank you for staying. We can promise you some more interesting insights into this industry. Our second session of the summit is entitled Halal Travel Becomes Mainstream. We're going to look at how non-Muslim destinations and travel companies around the world are adapting their business models and their marketing strategies to cater better to Muslim travellers. So I'd like to introduce you to our lineup of panellists for the second session. To my immediate left, we have Maggie Bootsman. She's the manager UAE for travel counsellors, which is we've got a big clap at the back there, fan club, woohoo! I need one of those. It's a bespoke travel company which has offices in several countries, including here in the UAE. Travel Counsellors has recognised the importance of offering its discerning clients halal travel services, and Maggie's here to tell us why. Sitting next to Maggie, we have Miguel Nieto Sandoval, from Tourism Counsellor of the Embassy of Spain for the Gulf region. Miguel's primary role is to promote tourism to Spain, and he'll be telling us what steps the destination is doing to attract more Muslim travellers. Does Miguel have a fan club? Can we give him a clap? Yes, there we go. This is the direction we're going in. Sitting next to Miguel, we have Omar Ahmed, founder of Sociable Earth, which is an online platform created to provide global Muslim travellers with valuable information about tourist destinations around the world. He's just launched the findings of a survey that reveal insight into how non-Muslim countries can attract more Muslim travellers. He's going to tell us about that. Omar's fan club, where are you? Don't worry, Tamara, you've got one as well. And on the end, last but certainly by no means least, Tamara Tawil, Marketing Manager, Overseas Countries, Geneva Tourism and Conventions Foundation. At Geneva Tourism, Tamara has been responsible for the launch of several successful initiatives that are designed to attract more visitors from the Gulf and more Muslim travellers in general. She's here to tell us more about that. So can we all give them a round of applause before we come and have a chat? Come and sit down here. Okay, so first of all, I just want to talk about why the mainstream travel and tourism market is now taking halal travel so seriously. And I think that's something all of you guys can answer. Maggie, why has Travel Counsellors decided to go down the halal travel route?
Well, as all of the stats show, Gemma, that halal tourism is the fastest growing sector in the travel industry. And it would be very, very remiss of us as a company not to grasp that opportunity and include it in part of our portfolio. We operate in 7 regions with 1,800 travel counsellors, and one of the key things for me when I joined the company here, we are operating in a Muslim country. We have Muslim travel counsellors amongst our 58 TCs here, and so we actually have to, it's something that I think we need to take on board, as well as being an opportunity. It's the right of the traveller in the UAE to be able to access halal-friendly destinations and information.
Fantastic. Really nice, concise answer too. Thanks, Maggie.
I could go on for hours.
I know. It's not like you. Miguel, what about Spain? You know, Spain's had a connection, you know, with the Middle East and Muslim travellers for a long time. What's happening at the moment in terms of trying to really ramp up, you know, visitor numbers and...
Well, actually, we are not targeting the halal market itself, but the Muslim Arab travel in this region. We have offices all over the world, and whenever there is a Muslim population, we try to cater to the cultural and religious sensitivities of this population. For instance, we have an office in Singapore. Now in Malaysia, the halal tourism is very important, and Indonesia not so much, but still. Some years ago, when we opened the office in '99, this wasn't so important, no? Now we opened an office here in the GCC in Emirates a few years ago, and this is a Muslim region, so we try to cater just in terms of cultural significance and religion, but in any aspect that have to be adapted to the market.
And do you see it of growing importance? It's becoming a much bigger market.
This is something, well, the market itself is quite important for us, not in the number, because, you know, in Spain we have millions and millions of visitors every year, but in terms of expenses, from this market that are higher than in other markets. No? We have still to evaluate how much important is the halal thing in the decision of the travel from this region to Spain.
So that's still kind of in its infancy, working out how important it is and what you can do more specific to halal travel. Yeah. But it's definitely on your radar.
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic.
We have a web page that is in English and Arabic, and one of the tabs in both versions, English and Arabic, we have a tab for halal services.
Oh, right. So you've gone down that route already. Brilliant. Thank you. Omar, why is it suddenly, on the radars of mainstream travel companies and destinations?
So I think the pattern of halal travel, the style of travel, and even holiday activities of a Muslim traveller have changed drastically over the last 5 to 10 years. Our data clearly tells us that travellers now, over 75% of travellers now, are interested in broadening their horizons, going to new destinations, having new experiences, being more experimental in their travel. And I think going back to their generation before them, there wasn't really a holiday or destination culture. I think particularly for those travellers who have set up a home in Europe or the Western world, their generation prior to that used to go back home and have their holidays there. And holidays was more about spending time with family. Activities now that a millennial Muslim wants to do is everything that a normal traveller wants to do. I mean, I get asked this question a lot, what do Muslim travellers do? And they are like any other traveller. They want to go hiking, scuba diving, they want to do all the crazy water sports, but they have certain requirements. Yeah. And those requirements are quite important for them because they influence the destinations they want to visit. But also, when you combine all of that, it's a great source of additional incremental revenue for a mainstream market. It's a market that they perhaps have not tapped into before, and it's one that users genuinely want to go into.
Fantastic, great answer. Tamara, now you've been doing quite a lot recently, haven't you, to look at this market? You've been working with the Gulf market for a long time, yes. But obviously when we talk about halal, it's not just Gulf and Arab countries, it's halal travellers from around the world. So what made you take the decision to go the next step and start going for the halal travel market in general?
Well, the potential is great. Geneva, I speak on behalf of Geneva and not Switzerland Tourism because this is where I work. Geneva has great potential. Geneva has all the facilities on the destination. And the main issue for us is now to communicate about those facilities. They are there. Getting the message out there is very important. We're very halal friendly. We have very Muslim friendly hotels, but we need the travelers to know about that. We've also launched our own dedicated social media platforms for the Gulf countries and the Muslim travelers. We're one of the few destinations to do that. So we're on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter with messages directly aimed and targeted at the Muslim and the Gulf traveler.
Great. That leads me nicely on to the next question, kind of looking at some of the results of some of your strategies to date. Now, Maggie, you've recently started working with halal tourism providers, haven't you? That was one of your first steps, to team up with suppliers in that field. What have been the early results of you going down this route of providing halal travel to your clients?
Well, it's opened an amazingly exciting opportunity for us, Gemma. I attended ATM last year to support one of my travel counsellors, Naeem, who was on the panel with you last year. And I had the opportunity to hear Nabil from Serendipity speak.
Who's here in a minute.
And who's here in a minute. And as soon as we finished the session, I used an Australian expression, went up and snafu'd him and said, I need to talk to you because I just saw this was such an amazing opportunity. So on the back of that, Serendipity has become our first halal DMC or destination management company for the company. But I felt that there was still more that we could do. So we have now reached out to all of our destination management companies and also our tour operators and suppliers and made sure that they can all cater for the needs of the Muslim traveller. And it doesn't matter if they're millennials or the older generation, it's not that hard. It's just asking a few simple questions and it's opened an amazingly massive opportunity for us, and I'm really proud of it.
And what's been the response from suppliers? Have they, I mean, I take it a lot of them have been mainstream suppliers, not necessarily halal specialists. What's been the response? Have they been able to help? And
Oh, absolutely. They've actually really embraced it. In our head office, we've actually got a person who looks after two portfolios. One is Halal, and the other one is, which we're about to launch, which I spoke to you about earlier, is accessible travel for the Muslim market. So we're about to embark on that
so that's
journey
a real
as well.
niche, isn't it? Accessible travel, yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah, brilliant.
So as a company globally, not only here, we've really embraced it, and our suppliers and our DMCs, both mainstream and niche, are supporting us every step of the way.
Fantastic, that's great to hear. Tamara, I mean, some of your campaigns that you've been running, what have been the response? Has it been exceeded expectations? How's it played out?
Very happy to say that the few campaigns we've run dedicated to the Muslim traveler or the GCC traveler have exceeded all expectations. So the response has been very positive. We ran a very successful campaign with Sociable Earth, and I will let Omar talk about it.
Yep.
Exceeded our expectations. Again, 2 years ago, we ran our first B2C campaign in the Gulf countries entitled Mom Relax. And this campaign targeted the woman traveler, the mother. Come to Geneva, we have all the facilities for you and your kids. And again, we had influencers who joined us at the destination, experiencing the destination, talking about it, and the KPIs were exceeded by 300%.
Wow.
So overall, very positive.
So will you do more?
Absolutely. Finding the right partners, I think, is key.
Yes.
The right message and the budgets.
And I'll let Omar talk a bit more about that
Yes.
in a minute, but just quickly, Miguel, about Spain. Similar things in the pipeline? You know, what kind of marketing are you looking at? What kind of initiatives?
We haven't taken any initiative, especially for the halal market, just the web page, but the results that we have got in the web page are not very high. I mean, if we see in Google Analytics, the percentage of the visitors of our web page that go to the halal tab, to the halal services, restaurant, mosque, and so on, is 3, 4, 5%, no more than this. It's higher in Saudi Arabia than here, but it's still for us too low. No? So
Yes.
we think that we have to still know more the market, to research more, to know exactly what the halal traveler is looking for. Because
So you're very much in the research stage, would you say?
sometimes they look for a Muslim or Arab-friendly environment. Spain is a country that we have some cultural similitude with the Arab world.
Yes.
We have a big population of people from North Africa, from
Yes,
Morocco.
that's right.
Our gastronomy is not, but we have so many vegetarian dishes, we have fish, so we don't really have a problem with the halal food, even
Right.
if it is not halal certified.
Sure.
But most of the travelers from the regions, they don't complain about the food. No?
And
Some of the hotel, the most important hotel, are catering for the Muslim market,
Right,
of course.
okay.
They are starting to change, for instance, to put in the bathroom,
Right.
the small shower, and all this kind
so
of...
the industry is starting to lead it anyway
Definitely,
within Spain, yeah.
definitely.
And so the industry is very receptive to this idea, and yeah. Okay, fantastic. Omar, tell us a little bit more about results of strategies. You know, things that you've worked on, for example, with Geneva Tourism.
Sure.
And
So-
what have you found that works?
Yeah, sure. So a little bit about Sociable Earth. So Sociable Earth is a travel destination platform that offers travel-related content to Muslim travelers all over the world. So we work with mainstream organizations around the world, tourist boards, airlines, hotels, who want to market their particular products and services to a global audience. So we work quite closely with the Geneva Tourist Board. Geneva Tourist Board's mandate was to attract more halal travelers. And we flew out there on a hosted day, and we experienced Geneva and all of the halal-friendly activities. So, unknown to us, Geneva had, I think, over 100 halal restaurants, very closely, scattered all over the city. The National Mosque of Switzerland is based in Geneva. They have over 100,000 visitors, non-Muslims who visit there every year, and it's a beautiful place. And there's all sorts of artwork, very, unique art calligraphy work. We managed to find a 1,200-year-old copy of the Quran hidden away in a museum.
Wow.
Which was absolutely amazing to actually go and see. And so we packaged all of that content together for Geneva. We worked with them. We replicated the content on the Geneva website. And then phase 2 was, as the previous panel were talking about, was about brand awareness and education. So yes, Geneva are very halal friendly. They have halal restaurants. They have access to local mosques. They have activities for the traveller. How can we tell people about them? And that's really one of the strengths of Sociable Earth. We have access to the world's biggest online Muslim community. So
how many?
So we reach, through our sister company, Hadith of the Day, we reach about 100 million Muslims every month.
100 million Muslims?
Yes, correct.
It's pretty powerful.
It's pretty powerful. We have a Facebook page of 15.4 million members. We have a Twitter page of 1.8 million followers. We've been going for about 10 years. And one of the biggest interests our community has is travel. And while we're on that subject, we took that as an opportunity to learn more about travellers. We really wanted to understand the DNA of a traveller, what makes them tick. So a few months ago, we launched a global travel survey where we had 35,000 responses from over 160 countries. And the great thing was that 63% of those responses were 18 to 34. So it was really the Muslim millennial. And it was great to get that insight from such a huge audience in terms of where are they going, which destinations they are visiting on a yearly basis, where would they aspire to go, even things like how much they spend, who they go on holiday with, who decides who to go on holiday, do they avoid certain destinations because they're not potentially halal friendly.
Do they?
Yes, well, I mean, our data says that 64% of travellers avoid going to Western countries because of a perceived lack of halal food. Now, I use the word perceived because that's what they think.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily the case.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we have a responsibility as industry stakeholders to really, kind of hammer home that message. Similar to Geneva, where Geneva are halal friendly, and lots of other European cities are as well.
Do you think the halal food aspect is still the most important thing for travellers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, out of 35,000 people that we polled, 61% of people said food is number one.
Because what we were saying, everybody wants the experiences. It's perhaps the halal food that makes the real difference as to whether they go somewhere or not.
Yeah, and that's what our data suggests, because like I said, the traveller is like any other traveller.
Yeah.
They're explorers, but they do have certain food requirements, which does influence whether or not they go to a certain destination. So, it's great insight.
Well, that brings me on to the question about how do we communicate with Muslim travellers from around the world, because they do want different things. Like you say, we've got the families where it's very much the mum is making the decisions, and we've got the millennials, it's slightly different. Some people know that they're in the halal travel market, some people don't know what halal travel is, but they're Muslim travellers. How do we get this message across? Perhaps each of you could kind of shed light on that. Maggie, what are you doing to actually market this to your clients?
Well, through our travel counsellors, the database to the TCs just here in the UAE is about 35,000.
Right.
And on a weekly basis, we send out marketing that comes from our travel counsellors to their database. And we've made sure that we include in every social media platform something about the Muslim travel and halal. And we've also made sure our imagery is relevant to where we're operating from.
Right, yeah.
Because that is something that if you get that wrong, you can get it very, very wrong.
Yes, yeah, it's got to be appropriate. Yeah,
yeah,
like any culture or religion or race or country for that matter. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just been making sure that in our marketing brand centre, we have a portfolio of images that are appropriate for this region and for the traveller.
And do you think images are powerful? And what does the panel think? How important is the image versus the word?
I think it's the most important thing. What you perceive through your eyes and what you hear through your ears, it's the vision that is really going to capture the audience to start with, yes.
Tamara, have you found that with your campaign, the visuals have been important.
Visuals are key. However, we tend to believe, as Geneva Tourism, we tend to believe that using aspiring images on Geneva, but maybe not also including images, for example, of typical Arab or Muslim woman is key.
Yes.
Because also, I mean, we have to remember when they do travel abroad, they don't want to relive what they have in their countries.
Yes.
They're there to explore new experiences. So we should not position Geneva or our destination as a duplicate to what they're living in, for example,
Yes.
Saudi Arabia. And I think this is key. And in my opinion, and it's a really humble opinion, I think this is where many destinations, westernized destinations, are probably going wrong.
Do you think it's a lack of understanding of the market, and really understanding is everything?
I mean, it's not for me to say if, but this is yes, I think it's just a stereotyped image. They want to give the Muslim traveler the reassurance that this is what the destination is about. But the Muslim traveler is not looking for that when they're traveling abroad. They would stay in their country, or they would stay within the GCC if this is what they want.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think there's a fine line in ensuring you're Muslim friendly and open and very happy to welcome Muslim travelers and having the facilities there, but not having your destination seen as another GCC or Muslim
Show
country.
what you've actually got to offer. Yeah.
And this is the visuals we've so far, concentrated on.
Interesting, yeah. Miguel, you were talking about, your hotels in Spain, halal friendly, you have halal friendly food. What do you think is the next step for Spain to get that message across? Because you've got these things, now you need to tell people about it.
Yeah, we need to develop a more stronger communication strategy. So far we have done a small campaign. We have tried to use always the Arabic language. We use some image of the Spanish Muslim heritage. That is the same song we have seen. Is what they are looking for or no, but the way I think it has a iconic image of the, most of the Muslims are very proud about the Spanish Muslim heritage. No? So we use this image, but we at the same time, we try to communicate something that is not just for a specific Muslim market, but for every market. You will feel at home in Spain. Really in Spain you can integrate very easily. And it's for Muslim, but it's also for Asian, or it's also for American, or it's for everyone, because probably this is one of the most appreciated things in Spain, the lifestyle, the opening of the lifestyle.
Thank you. Omar, what do you think is the most important thing when communicating with this vast market, very diverse market?
I think it's a two-pronged attack. I think obviously there's mainstream companies who want to offer brand awareness in terms of, look, yes, we are halal friendly, we need to get the message out. But I also think it's about the consumer as well. And I think I'll go back to the poll that you introduced yourself with about the term halal travel.
Yes.
Now, what really surprised us about our poll was 64% of people weren't sure what halal travel meant. And a third of those people were from UK, USA, and Canada. Countries where you'd assume they may know what halal travel meant because they're not living in a Muslim country. So I think there's constant education and messaging that needs to take place on that side as well.
Yeah, because you could market yourself as halal and people would go, well, what's that?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, halal travelers are incredibly diverse.
Yes.
I mean, you cannot put them in a 1 or 2 or even 10 boxes.
No.
I mean, even just within my own family, we have so many different requirements. You'll have some travelers who will only want to stay in a hotel that's dry. You'll have some Muslim families who are fine to take their family and stay in hotels which serve alcohol, because usually alcohol within even a Muslim country, it's tucked away in a corner of a hotel and that kids and families don't really access.
Sure.
So everyone has different, diverse opinions. You'll have some travelers who will come to the Middle East and just stay in Sharjah or Abu Dhabi, and they won't venture out of those, slightly more conservative areas. So it's a completely diverse market, and it's quite impossible to cater for every single one of them.
Yeah.
That's why your offering has got to be quite broad.
Yes.
But I think in terms of communicating to the traveller, it's really about word of mouth. I think people trust what their friends and family say.
Yeah.
55% of our audience said they choose their holiday destinations based on word of mouth.
Right.
So, if you've got a close bunch of friends and you know, you've had an awful experience at a certain destination, more than likely you're not going to promote that destination, and your friends are probably going to sit up and take notice of that.
Yeah.
So word of mouth, I think, followed by OTAs and social media is really how you communicate to the travellers.
Maggie, I guess you find that travel counsellors, the word of mouth about your business in general.
Well, our whole business model is
that.
built on that. That's why
Yes.
a lot of people would never have heard of travel counsellors, because we always work on repeat and referrals because of the sort of service we offer.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, excellent. I'm going to open it up to the floor quickly because we have a quick turnaround this morning. Do we have any questions for our panellists? There's got to be one. Yes, I knew there would be. Can we grab the mic at the front? Thanks, Lucy.
Just a comment addressed specifically to Miguel about Spain. I was in Cordoba a few years back, and one of the things that was being talked about is making it more halal or Muslim friendly. When I walked out of my hotel, I found within walking distance about 5 halal restaurants. So it's basically a question of informing people. That's what is needed. And in terms of Spain promoting itself, you've got 2 very good ambassadors, Real Madrid and FC Barcelona. That's all that you need.
What a great
that can
idea.
attract people in. And that actually does attract a lot of Muslim travelers. And then the other thing is about actually creating that information base about travel. You mentioned that you have a website where people are going there. People are not going to travel to a destination because it has halal food. That is not the purpose. The purpose is to experience the destination. You've got Andalusia. That itself is a very big attraction for Muslim travelers from all over the world. I mean, it's the history and the culture that people want to experience apart from the football.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're going to go on the phone to the football teams now.
Well, I think you are right. No, people travel to know a new country, because there are halal services. But you have to let them know that it's easy to travel, and they will feel
Yes.
at least. We have much more halal restaurants that we announce in our web page and so on, because not all of them are certified, truly certified. We cannot say this is halal, even if we know that it's halal because the local Muslim population is going there. This is another problem. Sometimes there are restaurants that are good for the local population, but we don't want to announce because the quality of the food is just average, And I don't know if Barcelona and Madrid are halal. I don't think so.
Great idea, though. Right, to wrap up, I'm going to ask you, if you can, to answer in one sentence. Where do we go from here? How do we increase awareness amongst the industry and Muslim travellers about halal travel? Can we do it in one sentence? Maggie? 2, maybe.
I think we're already doing that as a company, Gemma, because we've employed someone specifically to look after halal and accessible travel from a head office perspective. And in every region of travel counsellors, we're making sure that we're embracing it.
Fantastic. Miguel, what's your next step, apart from ringing Real Madrid?
Increase awareness about the service provided in Spain, about the importance to cater to the Muslim market, and secondly, to know more about the halal market. We still are not sure exactly the importance or whatever.
Sure.
He mentioned that maybe because the more halal, street halal people go not to Western countries, so you miss this information.
Yes.
But we need to know more.
Fantastic. Omar?
I think 2 things. I think, like Irfan said, the onus is on mainstream companies to become proactive and to start reaching out to this market. And then I think it's also about education as well, and brand awareness about halal travel, what it means, what it entails, and how it can benefit you.
Perfect. Tamara?
A bit like Maggie, I think Geneva is already nearly there. Keep doing what we're doing, dedicated communication in promoting this information that is the facilities that are already available, making this information available to the travelers.
Fantastic.
Through partners.
Great panel this morning. Can you all give them a round of applause, please? Thank you.